Chapter 2115 Between the Two Countries. Zhang Yi smiled and shook his finger. You're so smart. Why not give it a guess? Lu Karen's eyes rolled. It can't be a human creation anyway. If this kind of industrial product isn't a relic of the Ihan clan, then it must be from another race with a very high level of technology. The only race I know of is the Yulwan clan. Zhang Yi gave a thumbs up. Smart. This is what I got from the Yulwan clan. After hearing this, Lu Karen felt a lot more relieved. If they could mass-produce super-large mechanical life forms that were hundreds of meters tall, then building such a giant warship would certainly not be a problem. Zhang Yi pointed at the battleship and said, "This thing can fly and hide underground. It's very powerful. Aren't we planning to build a survival base in outer space or deep underground in the future? This thing is very useful. It will save you the trouble. Just modify it based on its original foundation, and it will be put into use quickly. And I want you to see if this thing can master its driving. If we want to attack the Wulwan Empire's headquarters, we may need to engage in a siege. Their defenses are no joke. If we can use it as a powerful offensive weapon, it might be very effective." Lu Karen nodded repeatedly, with a bright light in her eyes. She almost didn't hear what Zhang Yi said. The temptation of this thing to her is comparable to the temptation of top supercars to young people. "Brother, can I go up there and take a look?" Zhang Yi spread his hands. "As you wish. There are some mechanical life forms up there. They've been reprogrammed, so they won't attack humans. I can grant you permission to make them obey your commands." Zhang Yi said this and took Lu Karen directly onto the warship. Faced with this huge creature, Lu Karen looked left and right, and even hugged a round-headed mechanical life form of a maintenance worker, and was so happy that he was reluctant to let go. This is heaven. She was so happy that she wanted to roll on the ground. "I will have the Fukage troops strictly guard this place and not allow anyone to get close or spy. You should study hard during this time. Well, your job is quite stressful. After all, we rely too much on you in the field of armed forces for the siege. But don't worry, we can wait. We must make sure that things are done to your satisfaction before we take action." Lu Karen waved casually at Zhang Yi. "It's no big deal, brother. These things are not a bother to me now." She looked at the round-headed, honest-looking mechanical life forms on the deck and said eagerly, "With the help of these mechanical life forms, I can complete my work as quickly as possible." Rather than directing humans to do work, she prefers to cooperate with machines. After all, she only needs to input instructions, and they will work tirelessly according to her wishes. Seeing Lu Karen full of energy, Zhang Yi's mood also became much better. Everything is ready now. Only the east wind is needed. Once the 6 regions reach a consensus, I will gather their forces and resources, and then I will begin my revenge. Zhang Yi put his hands behind his back and clenched his fists secretly. East China Sea area, outside East China Sea City. Beneath the deep ocean, a huge shadow slowly approaches the water surface. It was a huge shark hundreds of meters long, with a strange shape and sharp spikes on its body. After it surfaced, its eyes were fixed on Donghai City in the distance. The city is now in ruins, its walls breached by the tsunami, and a muddy mudflat lies inside. The silver-armored General Onimo has been cruising this sea, attacking humans on the orders of the gatekeeper of the underworld. At a considerable distance, a lizardman girl in armor sat on his back, holding equipment and observing the situation near Donghai City. In the picture, you can see some soldiers and workers cleaning up the ruins and removing some useful weapons and equipment from them. "Humans, you still dare to come out and move around openly," the girl said coldly. Then she said to Onimo below her, "Teach them a lesson." When Onimo heard this, a cold laugh came from his huge body. Then he suddenly opened his bloody mouth, and a huge blue water ball spun wildly in his mouth, absorbing the surrounding seawater and becoming bigger and bigger. Boom! The blue water ball suddenly exploded and shot towards Donghai City, carrying billions of tons of seawater and causing huge waves along the way. A moment later, A loud explosion was heard in the Donghai city area, and building debris flew everywhere. A huge hole was directly blasted open in the already dilapidated city wall. After confirming that there were no more living people in the target area, the girl said to Onimo, "Today's operation ends here. Let's go back and report to the marshal." Good. Onimo sank to the bottom of the sea. This huge creature flexibly changed direction and swam quickly towards the Star Island Mist Valley. The Wulwan Empire at this time. Zhonglu, the gatekeeper of the underworld, has been in a state of rage and depression recently because of the pain of losing his son. He longed for revenge, but he knew nothing about what happened in the sealed land. Because of that special area, the signal cannot be transmitted. He could only use alcohol to numb himself and make himself forget the pain temporarily. Alcohol, a simple anesthetic that can be obtained by fermenting various crops and fruit juices, has indeed left an important record in all human races. Even the monkeys in the mountains use fruits to brew drinks to make themselves happy. However, as the pinnacle of combat power and a pillar of the Wulwan Empire, his condition also caused many people to feel uneasy. So on this day, Emperor Ce of the Wulwan Empire came to his residence in the imperial chariot. The emperor came in person, and Zhonglu went to greet him even though he was drunk. As soon as he opened the door, he saw the young emperor, who was his nephew in terms of seniority. His Majesty. "Uncle Zhonglu, there's no need to be so polite. I already know about Pokong's situation, and it's very regretful. However, as the Grand Marshal of the Wulwan Empire and the leader of the three armies, you are the pillar of the Wulwan Empire. If you continue like this, it will be very detrimental to the stability of the empire." Ce waved his hand, and his cloak fluttered. "You lost a son, so I will give you many more sons in return." As he finished speaking, a dozen female lizard men came up behind him. Some of them are tall and strong, and it is obvious that they have been well trained. Some have fair skin and charming figures, and they come in all shapes and sizes. There are the best beauties and the best female lizard men warriors. Chapter 21:16 The Wulwan Empire's Plan. When Zhonglu saw the scene, a look of surprise flashed across his eyes, which had heavy eyelids. "Your Majesty, what do you mean?" Ce said calmly. "After our era ended, in order to limit the scale of our tribe's growth, we have been afraid to develop technology and population and have survived to this day. Even the royal family must strictly adhere to the principle of limiting the number of offspring. But now a new era is coming. The old order should also be broken. Uncle, your excellent genes cannot be wasted. For the future of the Wulwan Empire, I need you to leave your genes behind." He pointed at the women. "Some of these women are the best female warriors. If you unite with them, there's a high probability that the child you give birth to will become a powerful person. If you don't like this, there are other beautiful women. I hope you won't dwell on the emotion of Pokong's death." Zhonglu raised his eyes and carefully looked at the female lizards in front of him. As expected, each one of them was an excellent female among 10,000. In fact, lizard people look similar to humans, except that they are taller, have tails on their backs, have scales on their skin, and have horns on their heads. Their overall appearance is not much different from that of humans. This is the choice of the Creator. Each generation of human beings tends to converge in overall appearance. When Zhonglu saw a beautiful white female lizard man, his eyes became stunned. He recognized that this was Ce's most beloved imperial concubine. "Your Majesty, isn't this your concubine?" Zhonglu pointed at the female lizard man. He suspected that he had drunk too much, and was still drunk. That's right. There was no resentment on Ce's face, but an attitude of right and proper. "Compared to you, the pillar of the Wulwan Empire, what is a concubine? As long as you are willing to cheer up, it is not impossible for me to give you the throne." Ce's words were sincere and heartfelt. These were not polite words to win people's hearts, but words that came from his heart. Where did the royal family of the Wulwan Empire come from? It was formed by the descendants of the most powerful member of the Wulwan tribe at the end of the era. The purpose of the royal family's existence is to protect the entire Wulwan Empire. At that time, The ancestor continued to reproduce and gave birth to more than 100 descendants. Among these more than 100 descendants, many powerful offspring were born. Their offspring must mate with the best female lizard men to give birth to even better offspring. These descendants always remember one responsibility, which is to protect the entire Wulwan Empire. They knew that the Wulwan Empire was in danger at any time. Natural disasters, floods, crustal movements, volcanic eruptions. Man-made disasters lurked in every corner of this world, along with other powerful races. Once they encountered them, genocide could occur. Furthermore, they had to be careful not to be discovered by the land dwellers, or they would violate the Creator's taboo. It is because they have survived in this uneasy environment for so long that they have been able to remain sober enough. Those with strong military power command the army, and the wise royal family becomes the emperor. There may be selfish motives, but the survival of the entire empire and ethnic group is what everyone cares about most. Seeing the determination in the emperor's eyes, Zhonglu, whose heart was broken, regained his spirits. Yes, he can't continue to be so decadent. Decadence cannot change the current situation. I see. He extended his hand and said, "Please keep these women for now. I won't let you down. But right now, I have something very important to do." Ce nodded with satisfaction. "What are you going to do? Are you going to use military force against foreign enemies?" Zhonglu invited Ce into the room and then opened a map of the land for Ce to see. "It is extremely necessary for us to launch a war against the Huashu kingdom in the human world. This land is close to us and has abundant resources. When the end of the world comes, this place will surely be a battleground for many civilizations." He pointed out 3 areas on the map. They are the Australian continent, the North American continent, and the Asian continent. These 3 places are very suitable for the birth of a new civilization. If we obtain these lands, we will have the opportunity to seize the initiative and become an angelic race when the new era arrives. Ce listened to Zhonglu's words and nodded slowly. "But what about the race underground in Huashu country?" Zhonglu was silent for a moment, shook his head and said, "For now, there is no better way to deal with them." Ce said, "Since that's the case, why don't we change direction and march towards the other 2 continents?" He pointed towards Australia and said, "There's no evidence of any special civilization on this isolated island, right?" Zhonglu held his chin in his hand and said cautiously, "It's hard to say." It is indeed hard to say. In the dark underground world, all civilizations are carefully hiding their whereabouts. If their existence is discovered by the Creator, they may die. If the Druckers discovered their existence, they would surely die. If they are discovered by other powerful races with malicious intentions who come to snatch limited resources, they will surely die. There is murderous intent everywhere on this planet. If it weren't for the contemporary civilizations that were blessed by heaven, the destruction of any race could happen in an instant. Ce pointed to the North American continent again. "What about here?" "There?" Zhonglu said helplessly. "It's clear that there are other civilizations out there. Furthermore, they appeared earlier than us and may have already had contact with humans on the surface." Ce was completely speechless. After all the talk, we still couldn't find a place to start. "So, what are your plans?" Ce looked at Zhonglu with a helpless look in his eyes. Zhonglu said seriously, "Don't worry. The destruction of Huashu Nation is inevitable. After this era ends, the beings beneath that land will no longer protect them and may even attack them. I'm constantly sending troops to harass their coastal borders, testing the limits of that race. I'm waiting for an opportunity." He stared at the land of Huashu country. "This land has an unusual aura and should not be occupied by these weak and hateful guys. And the civilized country beneath this land is not invincible. I will let them know the power of the Wulwan Empire. So now, we must all become soldiers." Zhonglu stared at Ce with a serious look in his eyes. "Strengthen the defenses of the entire Wulwan Empire and be ready for battle at all times. In addition to keeping an eye on human kingdoms like Huashu, We also need to guard against invasions from other underground civilizations. C nodded. I'll leave the military affairs to you. Staying with me. We'll try to get you more updates. Please like and subscribe and share the video with your friends. Love you all.